Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us here for our virtual gala at St. Coletta, Wisconsin. Tonight with us, we are going to honor LeRoy Butler with our Lifetime Achievement Award for his inspiration in his life and overcoming disabilities. I think many of you know LeRoy for the Lambeau Leap, which he's world famous. But maybe what you don't know is the softer, a little more intimate side of LeRoy, where he grew up with a disability and he grew to overcome it and went on to great things. And because of that, we're going to give him our Lifetime Achievement Award. Now, LeRoy, this is the highest award we give anyone at St. Coletta in a year. We've given very few, but we do this with great honor and emotion because of the inspiration you've provided to us in the organization in overcoming your disability. And we want to thank you for everything you've done for folks. So here you go, your Lifetime Achievement Award with our gratitude.
Thank you very much. This is very emotional because normally as athletes we get, we play for the highest honor would be a Super Bowl, which I played in 2 of them. And I remember my mother talked about days like this, and that's why she wanted me to become more of a great person than a great athlete. But she also said you could do both. And this gives me with great joy to accept this on behalf of my family, on behalf of my mother, because 2020 has been a rough year for a lot of people. We've had over 130,000 people and counting passed away from COVID-19. And people like me who grew up with a disability, I had to depend on people like you guys to help me through all of the ups and downs and going to school and dealing with bullying and things of that nature. So this means a lot to me, other than winning a Super Bowl, because you affect so many people with a Super Bowl in the Packer Nation. But with this particular award, when it says lifetime, that's from when I was little all the way up to where I'm a grown man now. So this means a lot to me. Thank you so much. I'm really very emotional. And I'm my birthday's coming up, so I'm kind of my horoscope, I'm kind of a Cancer. They say we're very emotional people. But when you've been quarantined for 120 days, it makes you think about days like this, that it's achievable. Because some young man and some young lady is going to watch this, who's going to be sitting in a wheelchair with braces and says, I can do what LeRoy Butler did, and it makes me feel good. And so thank you very much, and it'll be something I will cherish and live up to. So thank you so much.
From the entire St. Coletta family, we love you. Thank you, LeRoy.
I love you guys too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello everyone, this is LeRoy Butler, inventor of the Leap. But before we start there, I want to tell you about how I grew up, because I think it's very important. I think it's important because I think most kids, when they see this jersey, they think that most athletes, we had it great, we grew up in nice homes, both parents. Well, my life was a little bit different, but I think in a good way, because the one thing about my particular life, it wasn't always up, it wasn't always down, it was a lot of moving parts. But let's go all the way back. I just remember as a young African American in the projects, in the single family home. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 4 years old, so my mom was kind of the father and the mother, and she just taught us everything it is to be a leader, not a follower. And she just always talked about these brilliant things about not being a statistic. And she also talked about being a great person. Now, being in Jacksonville, Florida, one thing we did in the South, we went to church a lot. I'm thinking 150 days a week, a lot. And it just taught us things that we were going to use as an adult. So my mom, by herself, raised 5 kids. And it was just this one kid who was always the last one to do things, you know, because I had a disability. I had club feet. My feet were extremely pigeon-toed, and they had to put them in these casts and set them straight. And I had the Forrest Gump, if you ever seen the movie Forrest Gump, the same braces on my legs. And I just remember my sister, she used to, you know, my sister Vicky used to kind of pick me up and put me on the bus, and just, we used to have to catch the city bus, and I remember, you know, sitting in a wheelchair and not being able to do some of the things. And one of the things was I wanted to swim, because when you're in Florida and it's 100 degrees every day, you want to swim. But I couldn't because of my braces. I couldn't because I couldn't actually get, they didn't have wheelchair access, or for handicap. I don't know why, but it wasn't handicap accessible. So I couldn't. You know, these are the years that as a young child you remember. And for me, it was like fast forward. But it was something to me that really got my interest. I remember watching television on Sunday, after church, of course. At 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I used to watch the NFL. And as I'm watching the NFL, I saw one guy, he would get out in front of 10 guys, and he'd just say something to them. I don't know what he would say, but they would kind of break the huddle and go do exactly what he said. And I told my mom, I know what I want to be when I grow up. And she said, what's that? I said, I want to be a professional football player so I can get you out of the projects. And I want to be able to run and jump and do like all the other kids. And at the time, I was between 8 and 9 years old, and, you know, still dealing with, you know, club feet and having the braces on and off, and wasn't real coordinated. I wasn't real big. I mean, I didn't have a 6-pack. I had like a 1-pack. Just nothing, you know. Just, I'm thinking, when am I going to grow? But I knew what I wanted to be. And I just remember my mom came over to me and she says, listen, you can do whatever you want to do. You can be whatever you want to be, but you have to be a leader, not a follower. It's a lot of bad kids that get in a lot of trouble, a lot of crime, but don't be like that. You'll be just a statistic. If you really want to be in the NFL one day, you have to understand that you got to lead. Kids will walk by the special needs department at my school and just kind of look at us as if we were like different. And it never bothered me, because sooner or later I thought that I'm going to be able to run and jump like everybody else. So what I'm saying is, that's when it was a low point, and I kept my blinders on. And my grandmother told me best. I said, grandmother, why do kids pick on me? Why is that funny? Because I'm disabled. She said, you need to understand something. She said, God gave everybody a power. You have to figure out what it is. If you don't know what that power is, you're going to be kind of confused. She said, I know what your power is. I said, what is that? Because I'm thinking as a kid, most power is like Superman flying or doing something. No, that's not power. And she said, power is dangerous if you don't use it the right way. Your power is, you have the unique ability to ignore anything negative. If it's negative, you know how to block it out. So I didn't even know kids were bullying me and saying mean things, because I ignored them. Because I only wanted to be with kids that thought like me, if you want to do something positive. And she said, now, trust me, it's not going to be real popular, you're not going to have a lot of friends, but it's fine. But she said, you must understand that anybody can get in trouble and do these kind of things, but who's going to do something great in the future? So my grandmother was way ahead of her time. So growing up was rough at school, didn't have any friends, but I also learned that the real heroes don't have capes, they don't have letters on their chest, they don't have masks on. Well, now we have to wear masks, but that's different. They don't have stuff over their eyes. Nope, it's my teacher. My teacher every single day was a hero. But things started to get a little better. That talent that I thought I was hoping I would have started to come out about 9th grade. I'm in 9th grade.
all of a sudden the feet that weren't correct, I mean, they were just all over the place. They started to get a little stronger. And I started to be able to run. Running was my thing. And it was just like Forrest Gump. I mean, I pretty much didn't need braces anymore. I'm growing up, I'm running, but I still wanted, in the back of my mind, I wanted to play football. So when I got to high school, things changed. Things change. When I say change, it changed a lot. When I was in 10th grade, I was a pretty decent football player. My 11th grade year, I was pretty good. A little lucky, but pretty good. My senior year, I'm sitting in my algebra class, wondering in my little thought bubble, who invented algebra? I'm trying to add 2 letters to get a number, and it's just not working out. But I'm still doing it, and the loudspeaker came on, and it was a principal. And the principal said, I'd like to make an announcement, the first ever All-American in Lee High School history, LeRoy Butler. I said, wait, did he just say my name? Now remember, I had no friends. My brother went to the school. He wasn't even my friend. I had no friends, none. When I was walking around the hallway by myself. But when he made that announcement, he said, yes, when you see him, give him a high five. We've never had an All-American before. And I was saying to myself, this is what my grandmother was talking about. I'm about to have some power. How are you going to use it? So when the bell rang, I'm walking through, everybody's coming over to me, high-fiving. Just last week, a bunch of kids came over to me, and they were saying, you wear hand-me-downs. I said, what are you talking about? Well, your brother just wore that shirt last week. I said, you're wrong. He wore it yesterday, and I'm okay with it. I'm not in school for a fashion show. I'm in school to learn from the smartest people in the world, my teachers. And my shoes had holes in it. The custodian would go out back by the dumpster. He would fight up all the raccoons, find some cardboard, and he'd cut me out like an intersole for my shoes so my foot wouldn't hit the concrete when I walked. It didn't matter to me. I just wanted to come to school and learn. So some kids come to school for different reasons, to be popular, to wear nice clothes. For me, I just wanted to fit in and learn. But you go from that to now everybody in the school knows who you are. I mean, I didn't have a girlfriend at the time. Girls were like writing me notes, and I'm like, hey, this is amazing. But again, my grandmother, how are you going to use that power? So for me, it changed my life. I got a letter. I said, Mom, I sat on our couch, which had like a 2x4 in it so you don't fall through it. And I said, you know what? How many people in our family has ever gone to college? How many? She said, nobody. I said, no, Mom, we have like a family tree. It's a bunch of names and stuff. How many do you think, if you had to guess, how many went to college? She said, nobody's ever gone to college. Nobody. I can guarantee you that. I said, well, guess what? I may be the first. I got a letter. My first ever letter was Florida State University. I said, Florida State. I can go to college. Remember, my goal is to go to the NFL. So when I got this letter, then all of a sudden I started getting letters from UCLA, Georgia, Tennessee. Everybody wanted me to come to their school. This is amazing. But then it's going up. It starts to come back down. I got a letter. NCAA, you cannot go to college because you did not pass the SAT test. I said, wait a minute. What's the SAT test? Is this like the same guy invented algebra, this stuff they're just making up? No, you got to pass that to go to college. So my life was over. But here's when I knew it was a God. The next day, I was distraught. I'm walking, looking at the ground, and my teacher, Miss Gordon, at my high school, she said, come here. I got some news for you. I said, what? She's running down the hall looking for me. She said, you didn't read the fine print. I just saw on the letter it said I can't go. But if you read the fine print and breaking news guys don't read that stuff. We let our wives read it. We just want to know what it costs. We don't care what the terms are. How much does it cost? She said, no, you can still go to college, but you have to get a 700 on the SAT and a 2.5 GPA combined, and you can play. But you can't play your freshman year. I said, wait a minute, I can go to college, but I can't play my freshman year, but I can play my other 3 years? She said, yes, that's great news. I said, it is. So I was able to go to college. I get Florida State University, and again, my freshman year I didn't play, but it didn't matter. I'm at a university. My sophomore year, I would say average, because at Florida State, everybody's All-American. My junior year, I know most people know me for the Lambeau Leap, but this was way bigger in Florida. I did a fake punt, and it was called the Punt Rooski, and we did it against Clemson. We was about to punt the ball, and the center snaps it to the up back. The up back puts it between my legs. I kind of sit there, and while everybody's running around looking for the ball, I just take out running. Well, we did that against the Clemson Tigers in Clemson, and that put me on a national stage. Everybody knew who I was. We were able to win the game. Coach Bobby Bowden, my hero, it's like called this great play. Now my senior year, things really changed. I got a chance to meet somebody. I hope everybody listening to this knows. But if you don't, we have the internet now. I got a chance to meet Bob Hope. I was a consensus All-American. I went out to California and I met Bob Hope. And that's when it dawned on me, I may be famous one day and go into the NFL. So I'm going back, All-American. Everybody knows me on all the newspapers, radio shows, everything. LeRoy Butler's gonna get drafted. He's gonna get drafted. To me, I'm thinking, it didn't matter what team. But let's go back. Growing up, I was a huge Cowboys fan. Don't boo me, I was a kid, okay? Huge Cowboys fan. So I'm thinking that in a perfect world, the Cowboys are gonna draft me. Well, they weren't smart enough to do that. So in the second round, I said to myself, it don't matter. Anybody just call. The phone, they call you on the phone. So I'm thinking the phone is not ringing. So I said, well, maybe just go check the phone. So I go check the phone, and my sister was on the phone. So I'm thinking, wait a minute now, we have rotary phones. And don't even Google that. We had these, like a bungee cord on it. It wasn't cordless phones. Siri wasn't born yet. This is like, I mean, the phone would stay in one spot. And if somebody was on it, that means nobody else could call. It was busy. We had no three-way calling. So I go over to my sister and I say some things to her, and I'm a Christian young man, I won't repeat what I said, but I said some stuff to her. I said, you gotta hang this phone up. She hangs the phone up. As soon as the phone rings, I said, hello. It was Lee Rimmel from the Green Bay Packers. He said, we want to talk to LeRoy Butler. I said, this is me, oh, this is amazing, I'm so excited. He says, yeah, we're thinking about selecting you with the 48th pick in the second round. I'm like, well, what's the holdup? Well, you got to talk to the head coach first. Lindy Infante, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, gets on this phone. He said, how you doing, LeRoy? We're going to select you with the 48th pick. And we're so excited. He said, before I give you any more information, do you have any questions? I said, yes, I do have a question. Where's Green Bay? Because don't you play in Milwaukee? He said, no. We play a couple games in Milwaukee, but we play the rest of the games in Green Bay. I said, oh, well, great. He says, okay, go to your television. You'll see your name at the crawl. He said, wait. No, just stay on the phone with me. Just let your family see it, because we want to ask you some more questions. And I'm having this conversation, and I hear the roar of my family. just going berserk. I said, they must have saw it. And we had this small television too. I mean, it was so small we had to watch it one at a time. So everybody's like, what is happening? We can't really see. Cause we had a small television. And then my mom turned the volume up and they said my name. And I remember Chris Berman from ESPN saying my name. The Packers just selected LeRoy Butler. And it was almost as if it wasn't a dream because I was going through it, because this is what I want to happen when I was a disabled African American in the project in a wheelchair. This is not luck. This is what God said would happen to me. I just believed him. Get over to the locker room, see a picture of Bart Starr, Ray Nitsky, and all the history, you know, Lombardi, and it's amazing. It's truly amazing. And I just remember just the first year we were like 6-10. It wasn't my fault though. The next year we were 4-12. Like, man, this is not good. Because I'm coming from Florida State. We won 10, 11 games every year. The following year, we just beat Minnesota. And I'm sitting in the meeting room like, uh-oh, because we would meet with the head coach, Lindy Infante. He comes in. And then normally this is the speech after he talks, you leave for 6 months. They had just signed a new GM, Ron Wolf, Hall of Famer. Ron Wolf, a man of very few words. He comes in. I don't know if people know this story, but he comes in and he looks at the team. He says, paraphrasing, a lot of you guys probably won't be here because I want to win a Super Bowl. And he didn't have a mic to drop. He just left. Lindy Infante's standing right there. And Lindy Infante is professional. He gets back up there. Well, guys, you'll have a great summer. We'll see you in the spring. No, he said, have a great spring. We'll see you in the summer. It was so quiet. And then everybody just kind of left. The next year, of course, I got a phone call. We got a new coach. I heard all these Bill Parcells, Dick Vermeil, all these guys are going to be our coaches. I never heard of Mike Holmgren. Never heard of him. And I'm thinking, okay, who's the new guy? It's Mike Holmgren. Nice guy. Come from San Francisco. Won a Super Bowl. Okay, great. Then the next time we kind of, like a big deal, they said they just signed a new quarterback. I'm saying, wait a minute. Our new quarterback, our quarterback is Don Mikowski. Number 7, blonde, the magic man. No, they just traded for another quarterback. I said, okay, well, I got to go introduce myself. And it was Brett Favre. I actually played against Brett in college when he was at Southern Mississippi. So he comes in, he's just the nicest guy. I mean, Brett, I wrote a book about this, about I love all my teammates, but there's a few of them that were special. And Brett would come in and he didn't care what race you were, what sexuality, what gender, he doesn't care. Brett Favre loves everybody. He just come in, just go into each little culture in the locker room and just kind of just fitting in and just adapting to every piece of his surrounding. He just like, so wait a minute, you're a quarterback. You're not supposed to be like mingling with the undrafted players or players who may not make the team. But he loved everybody. And our team started to change. And then the following year, we got this guy that's going to change the whole complexion of our team. Reggie White. Reggie White is in the building. Wait a minute. I thought he went to San Francisco. I just read that he was going to San Francisco. Nope, he's here. I said, well, how do we get Reggie White? Because the NFL had something called Plan B. So they would just protect like 6 or 7 guys. Everybody else would get like less money. Reggie sued the NFL to become a free agent. So this is the biggest deal. Reggie White is a big deal. His first free agent is coming to the Packers. And there was this false narrative that African Americans didn't want to come free agent wise or plan B to Green Bay. It's not true. I said, well, how do we get him? So Mike Holmgren and Ron Wolf said they were telling him these things, and Ron said, listen, you can go anywhere else and be a great player. You can go anywhere else and do whatever you do. But if you come here, you'll be a legend. And one of the funniest stories, they tried to get in touch with Reggie to tell him they wanted to offer him a contract. And Coach Holmgren got his voicemail. And Coach Holmgren says, hello, Reggie. This is God. Please sign with the Packers. And Reggie thought it was so funny. He signed with the Packers. The losing culture is gone. We started to win. Things got better. 1995, we got the Cowboys on the ropes. Let them off the hook. 1996, things changed. We're playing Patriots. We had 4 interns to make sure they didn't deflate the footballs, though. So we were ahead of that game. And I'm joking, Patriot fans, take it easy. We get down there, the Superdome, and I see Luther Vandross, R&B singer. I say, this is what heaven's like. Because they shot fireworks inside the Superdome, so it was kind of cloudy. I'm thinking, this is the Super Bowl. This is... And then you get emotional as a kid playing in the NFL because this is the pinnacle of your life. If you're a kid thinking you're going to go to the Super Bowl, your emotions take over you. And I'm thinking to myself, and I had one of the PR guys said that 180 million people may watch this game. And to me, that made me say to myself, that's millions of disabled kids are gonna watch this and say, I want to do just what LeRoy Butler is doing, playing in the Super Bowl. I determine my outcome in my life, not somebody else. So we get in the game and they were back and forth, and since I got the lifetime award, I could tell my particular play. I mean, I think that's only fair, right? But I'm sure people have watched this game, the best sack. I come through like 5 guys, jump over the other 5 guys. I grab Drew Bledsoe. Okay, it was one guy, but it makes it sound better. I grab this guy, I sack him, and I do this weird dance. Fast forward through that part. But it made me think, this is, all those 180 million people were watching me at that moment. And it was awesome. And then, Reggie White gets a couple sacks, and Brett Favre does his thing, and Desmond Howard, the MVP, just takes over the game. Thank you, Desmond, for the Super Bowl ring. Thank you so much. Love Desmond. And I'll never forget that team. That team was a bunch of guys that come together for one collective goal. Whenever you're in any company, it doesn't matter where you are, when you swipe that green key card, it's about the team. If you swipe it and it turns red, go see HR, but at least. But once you're in that building, you leave all your problems outside the building. You must come together, and we did that. I remember getting over to the locker room, and it was 1993, right after Christmas, and it was really cold. It was so cold that thermostat wasn't working, because every time I come into the locker room, I'd go check the thermostat just to see how cold it was. I'm from Florida. But it was broken. And then some guy yelled, oh, it's 17 below. I said, wait a minute, my refrigerator's 32 degrees. Do they forfeit these games? And the guy said, no, they don't forfeit the game. What are you talking about? I said, listen, you don't understand. We're playing a team from California. It's not fair to them. We should just wait till next year. And everybody's laughing. So they gave us a few things to keep us warm. And one of the things they gave us was pantyhose. Never had any on before. So we're putting these things on, and nobody can get them up. They're all stuck. Can't get them up. And I just remember one of the guys say, "Hey, I saw my wife put them on once. She shakes and they come up." So everybody's shaking trying to pull these things up. And when they finally got up, I saw Reggie White, 6'5", 300 pounds, and walk by in pantyhose. I said, "Reggie, oh." He said, "What?" I said, "You got to run in yours." So he started laughing. He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You got to cut your toenails so you can get these things up." And people said, "Butler, how do you know that?" I said, "I don't know. I don't know." So we get into the game, and I cause a fumble. And when I caused a fumble, in my peripheral vision, I see the football, but I don't know where it went because the ground is frozen. So the ball is just coming. Then all of a sudden, Reggie White has the ball, and he's running this slow, like he's in frozen. Probably was. And I'm like, I gotta go over there. Because Coach Holmgren always told us, if you get an interception or a fumble, never lateral or pitch the ball. Don't do that. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Because guys would turn it back over. But I knew he was going to do it. So we call eye contact as if we were going to the prom or something. I'm like, oh, there's Reggie White. So I sprint over there. And as I'm running over there, I see Tony Bennett on the ground because he was trying to go towards Reggie because he saw the same thing I saw, but he fell because it was slippery. Then I saw another guy fall because it was really slippery. But God is good. I stayed up. I'm running over there, and Reggie's falling, and he laterals me the ball. I get this ball, and it seemed like, no pun intended, as if everything was frozen. Like, is this really happening? Because I'm a defensive guy, we never score. So I get this ball, I'm running down the sideline. And spontaneously, I had nothing made up, nope, spontaneously, I'm running. I said, I'm gonna jump in the stand. So I point to this guy, like I'm gonna jump, and this guy's like, why is he pointing at me? What's going on here? So all the fans are rushing down, they don't know what I'm about to do. So I run over there, and I throw the ball down, and I jump. But as this is going on, a guy had a beer in his hand. And this guy's literally trying to make a decision. Do I catch LeRoy Butler, or do I drink my frozen beer that's called frozen? I stood in line for 20 minutes, and it's no good, whatever. And he throws the beer away. He catches me, and I heard him say, "You owe me a beer." And as I got down, I'm laughing so hard, I'm looking for the ball. And I get the ball, and I'm running, and I see Doug Evans come over there, and I'm doing this weird dance, fast forward that. Favre comes out to me, and he has this Superman cape, and you see him abruptly turn. He said, "Oh, you smell like beer." I said, "Yeah, this guy waste of beer on me." And then we're running around, and we get to the bench. I remember Coach Holmgren comes over there with his headphones, takes them off. Never do that again, because we're gonna get fined. There's gonna be a penalty, and then they say, "No, it's a touchdown. It's all good. Everything's fine." And then the following, I think 2 weeks, Holmgren did get a letter. They said, "Oh, everything's fine. No one got here injured or nothing. No fan hit, but nothing. Everything's fine." And Robert Brooks did a song about it called "Jump in the Stands." I'm sure you can pick that up on iTunes. It blew up. It blew up. It blew. Everybody was doing it. Great. And the reason why it's so significant now, because when you see Packer games this year, 2020, they won't be able to do the leap. The first 6 rows are going to be like tarped out. So not only 2020 brought us COVID-19 and lost a lot of deaths, it's going to be a lot of changes. It's going to be a lot of changes. And doing the leap was something I thought would never, ever stop happening, but you won't see it. But the good thing about it is next year, 2021, every time the Packers score, which will be a lot, instead of one guy doing it, 2 guys will do it to make up for 2020. But again, I am just equally honored to accept this award. And again, I just wish my mom was here to see stuff like this, and I know she is looking down upon me. But it means a lot to me because every young man, every young lady, every adult with a disability, I hope they see this and just say, you know what, I can do whatever I want to do. And I determined that. And my grandfather used to say, every day is a new day. It's a new day. And if you don't take advantage of it, you're wasting your time. So thank you very much. I'm just so tickled inside right now because this year has not been the greatest for a lot of people, but this for me makes 2020 something I can look back on and say it wasn't all bad for me because I was able to touch a lot of people's lives who needed this kind of message. So thank you very much.